Silence is a weapon, a blade sharper than any insult, stronger than any argument, and feared more than any shout. People think power comes from speaking, but the truth is colder. Power comes from presence, from the mind that doesn't rush, from the man who doesn't explain, from the individual who understands that every word he withholds increases the weight of the next one he chooses to speak. Most people drown themselves in noise. They talk because they're insecure. They fill the air because they fear the emptiness inside them. But you, if you seek real dominance, must learn the opposite, to make silence your armor, your signal, your territory. When you walk into a room with deliberate calm, others feel it before you say a single word. When you look at someone and choose not to respond, they feel the gravity of your judgment. When you listen longer than they expect, they start revealing more than they intended. This is the Machiavellian art of invisible control, the power to command respect without raising your voice, without begging for attention, without performing for approval. If you understand the strength of strategic silence, comment, "My silence speaks power." Number 1. The silent edge. Silence is not weakness. It is the first test of discipline, the boundary that separates ordinary men from those who possess true inner command. And when you master it, you create a presence that others cannot ignore, cannot interpret, and cannot control. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything around you, people are forced to react to you instead. And in that shift, the balance of power quietly bends in your favor, giving you an edge sharper than confrontation, calmer than aggression, and yet far more intimidating than both. Your silence makes others reveal themselves, their intentions, their insecurities, their fears, because noise exposes the foolish, but silence exposes the truth. And in those moments where you hold back your words, you force the world to step toward you, to guess what you're thinking, to feel the weight of your presence without you lifting a finger. A man who speaks less is never predictable, and unpredictability is the birthplace of power because people fear what they cannot read, and they respect what they cannot shake. If you understand the strength inside controlled quiet, comment, "My silence builds my throne." Number 2. Presence without noise. Powerful presence is not built by raising your voice, it is built by raising your standards, sharpening your awareness, and disciplining your impulses until your very stillness becomes a message people cannot ignore. Because when you walk into a room with controlled energy, you immediately separate yourself from those who operate on nervous chatter, restless gestures, and desperate attempts to be seen. Presence is built in the moments when you do nothing but observe, when you let others expose their patterns while you keep your intentions buried beneath a calm exterior that reveals nothing and suggests everything, creating an aura that makes people think twice before approaching you and even more before underestimating you. In silence, you gather information they carelessly spill. In stillness, you read the hidden tension written in their body language. In restraint, you learn exactly who is confident, who is insecure, and who is pretending. Your presence becomes a weapon because it is not easily shaken, not easily manipulated, and not easily pulled into the emotional storms that control ordinary minds. People trust noise because it distracts them, but they fear silence because it forces them to confront reality. And when your presence carries that silent reality, you command respect without demanding it, without performing for it, without lowering yourself to seek it. A man with presence does not chase attention. He pulls attention, bends attention, owns attention, simply by existing with intention, discipline, and quiet confidence. And the more you ground yourself in calm observation, the more unpredictable and powerful you become, because people cannot attack what they cannot read, cannot manipulate what they cannot access, and cannot dominate what refuses to play the emotional game. This is the Machiavellian truth. Presence is a silent throne, and only those who master themselves can sit on it without trembling. If you understand this level of silent power, comment, "My presence speaks louder." Number 3. The calm that controls rooms. Real dominance begins the moment you stop rushing to fill silence and start letting silence work for you. Because when you remain calm, while others scramble to appear relevant, important, or intelligent, you reveal who truly holds the psychological high ground, And this calm is not passive. It is a deliberate assertion of power, a quiet declaration that you refuse to be dragged into chaos, noise, or emotional turbulence that weak men use to disguise their uncertainty. When you stand still while others fidget, when you speak slowly while others ramble, when you maintain a steady gaze while others avoid eye contact, you create an atmosphere that forces everyone around you to adjust themselves, recalibrate their behavior, and check their own confidence in your presence. Calmness is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of it, the ability to feel everything yet reveal nothing. And that ability terrifies people because it means they cannot predict you, cannot provoke you, and cannot pull you into their emotional world. Your calm presence becomes a mirror that exposes their anxiety, making them feel the weight of their own lack of control. And the moment someone feels inferior in emotional control, they automatically place you above them in the hierarchy. This is the psychological secret leaders have used for centuries. If you control your inner world, you automatically influence the outer one. People become cautious around you, more respectful, more measured, because they sense that you are not operating on the same frantic frequency they are. And the most powerful part is this: your calmness makes others work harder to earn your reactions, your attention, your acknowledgement, turning the tables of power entirely in your favor without you speaking a single heavy word. Calmness becomes your shield against manipulation and your sword against disrespect, because no one can destabilize a man who refuses to bend to impulsive emotion. This is how kings, warriors, strategists, and silent tacticians have commanded respect for generations, not through noise, but through an unshakable presence that makes others feel the depth of their own instability. If you feel the strength in mastering this level of calm control, comment, "My calm commands respect." Number 4. The power of unreadable silence. There is a specific kind of power that only belongs to the man who cannot be read, the man who speaks less than he observes, reacts slower than he judges, and reveals nothing until he decides the moment is strategically perfect. And this unreadable silence becomes one of the most intimidating forces in any social environment because people fear what they cannot interpret, cannot decode, and cannot predict. When your face becomes calm, even when chaos surrounds you, when your breathing stays steady while others lose control, when your body language remains grounded while theirs exposes every insecurity, you create an atmosphere that shifts the psychological advantage entirely in your favor. People instinctively try to read others to gain leverage, to anticipate moves, to feel superior. But when they look at you and find no emotional entry point, no weakness to poke, no anxiety to exploit, they begin questioning themselves instead. And that internal questioning is where your silence invades their mind. They start wondering what you're thinking, what you know, what you might do next. And in that uncertainty, their own confidence begins to fracture while yours crystallizes. Silence makes people project their fears onto you. They start imagining that you're more confident, more intelligent, more dangerous, or more aware than you actually are, because your quietness forces them to fill the gaps with their own insecurities. And when someone's insecurity is activated in your presence, respect automatically follows, because no one disrespects what intimidates them. Your unreadable nature becomes a psychological armor that protects you from manipulation, gossip, emotional traps, and power games, because manipulators rely on reading reactions, and when you give them none, they lose the map. They cannot navigate a man who operates like a still lake, calm on the surface, deep beneath, impossible to measure. Even in conflict, your silence creates pressure. People become uncomfortable when they can't get a verbal response, a defensive explanation, or an emotional outburst, and that discomfort pushes them to reveal their true intentions faster, exposing their weaknesses before you've even spoken. The one who speaks first loses the advantage. The one who speaks without thinking loses respect. But the one who holds silence holds the room. This is why unreadable silence is a Machiavellian weapon, because it allows you to control perceptions without speaking, influence outcomes without forcing, and command respect without demanding it. When you master this silent psychology, you no longer chase power. Power begins to orbit around you, If you understand the strength of being unreadable, comment, "My silence is my strategy." Number 5. The art of silent dominance. Silent dominance is not about withdrawing from the world. It is about entering every situation with such controlled intention that people feel your presence before they hear your voice. Because true power is never loud, never frantic, never desperate. It is measured, deliberate, and rooted in a level of self-mastery that most individuals will never come close to achieving. When you walk into a room with stillness rather than performance, when your eyes move with calculation instead of insecurity, and when your body stays grounded rather than fidgeting for validation, you signal a level of inner authority that instantly shifts the energetic hierarchy around you. People sense when a man commands himself, and instinctively, they adjust their behavior in his presence. They speak more carefully, choose their words with caution, and evaluate themselves before they dare to evaluate him. Silent dominance is built on the principle that the less you reveal, the more power you hold, because information is leverage and restraint is control. Every time you choose not to overshare, not to react impulsively, not to explain yourself unnecessarily, you build psychological distance that others cannot cross. And in that distance, your influence grows, because the more they assume about you, the more respect they subconsciously attach to you. You become the unknown variable in every equation, the unpredictable force in every dynamic, and unpredictability is one of the greatest advantages a man can have in a world full of transparent intentions and easily readable emotions. Silence allows you to observe the playing field without exposing your next move, giving you the clarity to understand who is genuine, who is threatened, who is lying, and who is trying to measure you. It allows you to study people's motivations while keeping yours invisible. It grants you the discipline to respond with precision rather than impulse. In silence, you are not passive, you are calculating. You are gathering information others don't even know they are giving away. You see the insecurity behind the jokes, the desperation behind the arrogance, the fear behind the aggression, and the intentions behind the words. And when the moment finally comes for you to speak, your words carry 10 times the weight because they were chosen, not spilled. Silent dominance also protects you from emotional manipulation because manipulators thrive on immediate reactions, on visible cracks in your armor, on emotional displays that give them something to exploit. But when your silence denies them a reaction, denies them your energy, denies them the emotional opening they crave, their influence collapses and their power over you evaporates. They cannot control what they cannot read, they cannot dominate what remains unshaken, and they cannot manipulate a man who holds himself with such calm control that his very presence becomes a strategy. Silent dominance is the signature of a man who has mastered both himself and the room he walks into, not through force, but through an unspoken authority that demands respect simply by existing. If you resonate with this level of cold, controlled power, comment, "Silence makes me powerful." Number 6. The strategy of speaking last. There is a rare kind of strength possessed only by the man who refuses to be rushed, pressured, or baited into speaking before he is ready. And this strength becomes one of the most potent psychological weapons in the realm of power because the individual who speaks last, after everyone else has exposed their fears, their motives, their insecurities, their exaggerations, their lies, and their need for validation, holds every advantage without lifting his voice or raising his pulse. When you choose to speak last, you claim the position of the observer, not the performer, the strategist, not the victim, the judge, not the participant scrambling for attention. Speaking last is not about winning arguments. It is about controlling the flow of information, watching how others reveal themselves in their impatience, and conserving your energy for the exact moment when your words will have maximum precision and maximum effect. Most people speak quickly because silence makes them uncomfortable. They fear the weight of their own thoughts and try to escape it by filling the air with noise. But when you sit in silence long enough, you start to see everything they try to hide. Impatience exposes weakness. Over-explaining exposes insecurity. Nervous talking exposes lack of self-control, and the man who waits, calm, still, unreadable, forces everyone else to reveal who they truly are before he even begins to speak. This is why Machiavellian minds are never the first to respond. They understand that the one who reacts first always reacts emotionally, and emotion is ammunition for the intelligent. By speaking last, you position yourself as the one who analyzes rather than reacts, who listens rather than leaks information, who measures every detail rather than drowning in impulsive noise. And in every social dynamic, whether a negotiation, a conflict, a conversation, a debate, or a moment of tension, the one who sees the most holds the most power. Speaking last grants you that vision. It also forces people to overinvest in trying to guess your reactions. And in doing so, they lose stability. They start repeating themselves. They start revealing more than necessary. They start trying to justify their position even though you never challenged it. They start modifying their tone because your silence makes them doubt themselves. This shift, this internal confusion they experience, is where your dominance quietly forms. The man who speaks last does not need to raise his voice to dominate a room. His silence alone becomes a gravitational pull, a force that bends the conversation toward him. Others subconsciously look to him for confirmation, correction, or approval, because the silence of a confident man creates psychological space that weaker minds rush to fill. And the more they speak, the more you learn. You learn their intentions, the cracks in their logic, the areas where their confidence wavers, the emotions they fail to control, and the pressure points that shape their behavior. Speaking last also protects your reputation, because the one who waits hears every perspective before shaping his own. You do not speak from ignorance. You speak from analysis. You do not speak from ego. You speak from clarity. And clarity is one of the rarest forms of power in a world where people drown themselves in their own noise. Even in confrontation, speaking last is an advantage. When someone tries to provoke you, they expect instant reaction, emotional reaction, defensive reaction. But when you remain unmoved, when you give them silence instead of anger, they expose far more than they planned to. Their voice rises, their expression changes, their frustration leaks through their mask. And by the time you choose to speak, the emotional field is already yours. Your calmness becomes contrast. Your words become impact. Your presence becomes dominance. This is why kings, generals, negotiators, and psychological tacticians have always used this principle. The last voice is the one remembered. The last voice is the one associated with authority. The last voice is the one that defines direction. And because you took the time to observe everything before stating your position, your words become sharper than theirs, more grounded than theirs, and far more influential than theirs. Speaking last also removes the possibility of you being cornered or manipulated, because manipulators rely on quick emotions and spontaneous reactions. They need you to speak first so they can twist your words, poke your weaknesses, or push you into emotional traps. But when you wait, their strategies collapse. They cannot twist silence. They cannot trap calmness. They cannot provoke a man who chooses his timing with intention rather than impulse. In your silence, manipulators lose their power and you gain yours. And beyond social settings, even in personal relationships, speaking last rewires the dynamic entirely. When others expect immediate explanations, immediate apologies, or immediate emotional responses, your silence forces a pause, a moment of self-reflection, a moment where their mind begins analyzing itself instead of attacking yours. That pause is your battlefield. That pause is your throne. And that pause is where you rise above the emotional storms that consume weaker minds. Speaking last is not about winning through words. It is about winning before words. It is about letting others drain themselves while you conserve your strength. It is about letting them reveal the entire battlefield while you remain unseen. And when you finally choose to speak, calm, precise, controlled, your voice carries authority not because of volume, but because of timing. This is the Machiavellian truth. The one who speaks last speaks with the most power. If you understand this level of cold psychological control, comment, "I speak with purpose." Number 7. The mystery that forces respect. Mystery is one of the most potent forms of psychological power, and the man who masters it commands a level of respect that others cannot replicate, because when people cannot fully understand you, cannot predict your next move, and cannot read the intentions behind your silence, they instinctively treat you with a mixture of caution, curiosity, and quiet admiration. Mystery is created not by pretending to be someone else, but by refusing to let the world consume your inner world, your private thoughts, and your emotional core. In an age where everyone exposes themselves through constant talking, oversharing, and emotional impulsiveness, the man who holds back becomes rare, valuable, and unforgettable. Most individuals reveal everything too quickly: what they fear, what they want, what they dream about, what hurts them, what drives them, and in doing so, they give away the very leverage that could have protected them. But the mysterious man understands that information is currency, and the less he reveals, the richer he becomes. Every boundary is intentional, every silence is strategic, every piece of information he shares is filtered, controlled, precise. And because he does not collapse into emotional transparency, others are forced to approach him slowly, carefully, and respectfully. Mystery builds psychological distance, and distance builds authority. People fear what they cannot fully interpret, and that fear transforms into respect. When someone cannot predict your emotional responses, they become more mindful with their words. When they cannot determine your intentions, they approach you with restraint instead of arrogance. When they cannot easily categorize you, they begin to elevate you in their mind. This mental elevation is one of the most powerful psychological positions you can occupy, the pedestal that others build for you without your effort. The mysterious man understands this and never rushes to correct misconceptions or clarify assumptions. He lets people wonder, lets them create their own theories, lets them project their insecurities and desires onto him. And each projection gives him more influence because people begin reacting to a version of him shaped by their own mind. Mystery also protects you. Manipulators, narcissists, and insecure individuals rely on information. They need to know your weaknesses, your insecurities, your emotional triggers. But when you reveal nothing, when your silence becomes an impenetrable wall, they find nothing to hold on to, nothing to use against you. They cannot manipulate what they cannot read. They cannot destabilize what does not react. They cannot control someone whose emotional landscape remains hidden. This forces them to step back, retreat, or expose themselves in frustration. In this way, mystery becomes armor, silent, invisible, powerful. But mystery is not coldness. It is not distance for the sake of distance. It is depth. The mysterious man feels deeply, thinks deeply, observes deeply, but he does not broadcast this depth to the world. He shows the surface while guarding the ocean beneath. And because others can sense that there is more beneath the surface, they become drawn to him, intrigued by him, compelled to understand him. This pull creates gravity, and gravity creates influence. You do not chase attention when you are mysterious. Attention moves toward you organically. Mystery also enhances your presence. When you walk into a room with stillness instead of desperation, people notice. When your eyes observe instead of scan nervously, people feel it. When your energy remains controlled instead of chaotic, others adjust. Mystery amplifies your presence because people feel the weight of what is unspoken. They sense depth without needing to see proof. They sense power without needing loudness. They sense intelligence without needing explanation. And because so few people possess this quality, it stands out instantly. Finally, mystery elevates your relationships. Only those who earn your trust gain access to your deeper layers, and because entry is rare, it is valued. People treat what is scarce with care. They treat what is exclusive with respect. And when you give your depth selectively, you build stronger, more meaningful connections while filtering out those who are not worthy of your inner world. Mystery is not the absence of authenticity, it is the protection of it. Mystery also strengthens your decision-making, because when you are not pressured to explain yourself constantly, you gain the freedom to think clearly, act slowly, and move with intention. You no longer rush choices to satisfy others. You no longer react impulsively just to be understood. You no longer reveal your strategies before they are executed. This internal freedom creates external power, because people sense that you are not easily influenced by their opinions or expectations. You become the man who moves on his own timeline, guided by his own standards, fueled by his own vision. And this independence is magnetic. People trust the one who does not seek approval because he radiates a confidence rooted in self-governance. Mystery also makes your silence louder. When you speak rarely, your words land with more force. When you reveal selectively, your revelations carry more meaning. When you open up only to those who earn it, your vulnerability becomes strength instead of weakness. People listen more closely, pay more attention, and take your presence more seriously because they know you are not a man who wastes words or displays emotions carelessly. This creates influence that does not need to be announced, only felt. And above all, mystery builds unshakable self-respect. When you protect your inner world, you reinforce the belief that you are valuable, that your thoughts matter, that your emotions are not to be consumed casually by anyone. You stop giving pieces of yourself away. You stop allowing the world to shape your identity. You become whole, solid, centered. The mysterious man is not trying to be enigmatic. He simply refuses to be anything less than sovereign over himself. His silence is intentional, his boundaries are firm, his presence is heavy, and his power is undeniable. And this is why mystery remains the greatest strength a man can develop. Number 8. The silent mind that outthinks everyone. A silent mind is not an empty mind. It is a refined, disciplined inner world where every thought is examined before it is allowed to exist. Every emotion is filtered before it reaches the surface, and every reaction is slowed down enough to be shaped, controlled, and weaponized. Most people operate with loud minds, constant overthinking, emotional storms, impulsive thoughts, imagined fears, and endless inner noise that weakens them more than any external enemy ever could. But the man who trains his mind to become silent becomes untouchable, because silence inside the mind creates clarity, and clarity creates power. When your mind is silent, you notice everything others miss: the tension behind someone's smile, the insecurity hidden in their jokes, the desperation behind their arrogance, the motive behind their compliments, and the fear behind their anger. Your awareness expands because you are no longer trapped inside mental chaos. You are observing reality without distortion. And the one who observes accurately always outthinks the one who reacts emotionally. A silent mind cannot be manipulated because manipulation requires triggering emotional noise, fear, guilt, urgency, insecurity. Yet when your mind is still, nothing can be triggered. Emotional chaos cannot move you. Threats cannot shake you. Insults cannot touch you. You see the intent behind every move, the weakness behind every attack, the strategy behind every action. And because your mind is calm, you respond with precision instead of panic. Calm decision-making gives you an unfair advantage in conflicts, negotiations, relationships, and power struggles, because a quiet mind always sees 3 steps ahead while others stumble over their own thoughts. In silence, you gain patience, real, cold patience, the kind that allows you to wait for the perfect moment instead of acting out of anxiety or impulse. This patience makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is one of the strongest forms of psychological power. People cannot anticipate a man who is not emotionally driven, and when they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. A silent mind also creates internal strength. You no longer crumble when challenged, no longer break when criticized, no longer retreat when pressured. You become centered, stable, grounded, firm, a man who does not shake easily. And this stability becomes intimidating to those who rely on emotional chaos to dominate others. They realize they cannot provoke you, cannot confuse you, cannot get inside your head. and this realization weakens them instantly. A silent mind does not rely on external validation because it is rooted in internal certainty. You no longer need praise to feel strong or approval to feel secure. Your confidence becomes self-generated, built from discipline rather than compliments. And people sense this difference. They can tell when a man's confidence is authentic and unmovable. A silent mind also enhances your social intelligence. When you are not mentally loud, you become an observer rather than a participant in emotional noise. You listen more, and through listening, you gain information. You study facial expressions, micro-reactions, body language, tone shifts, contradictions, unspoken tensions, and subtle power cues. You begin to understand people in ways they do not understand themselves. This makes you a psychological tactician, someone who can navigate human behavior with strategic accuracy. And while others speak impulsively, reveal too much, or react emotionally, you speak deliberately, reveal selectively, and react strategically. Your silence becomes a filter that keeps your power inside while exposing the weaknesses of others. People talk to fill their discomfort. You let silence expose them. A silent mind also creates resilience. When setbacks hit, you do not collapse because your thoughts are not scattered. You face problems with a calm internal structure. You think long-term instead of reacting short-term. You focus on solutions rather than drowning in emotional noise. You maintain control even when the world around you loses it. That level of internal command is rare, and anything rare becomes powerful. A silent mind is also creative in a way loud minds can never be. Creativity requires space, mental space, and most people don't have it because their thoughts fight each other constantly. But the silent mind generates ideas with clarity, direction, and depth because it is not clouded by fear or overthinking. You begin to see patterns, opportunities, and strategies that others overlook. Your intuition sharpens. Your vision expands. Your thoughts become tools rather than enemies, and gradually, you transform into the kind of man who leads from a place of mental mastery rather than emotional. Instability. A silent mind also affects your presence. When your inner world is calm, your external energy becomes stable and powerful. People feel your composure, they sense your awareness, they recognize your discipline, and they instinctively treat you with respect because silence radiates strength in a way words cannot. In a world full of noise, the quiet man stands out, not because he tries to, but because his energy is rare. Silence inside creates power outside. This combination, clarity, stability, awareness, restraint, creates a force that others cannot compete with. And when you outthink everyone, you eventually outrank everyone. The silent mind is the mind that wins. If you understand the strength of constructing a mind that cannot be shaken, comment, "My mind moves in silence." Number 9. The energy that speaks before you do. There is a rare and powerful force that surrounds certain individuals the moment they enter a room, an energy that moves ahead of them, communicates without words, and shapes how others perceive them long before a conversation even begins. And this energy is not luck, not charisma, not accident. It is the result of a man who has crafted himself with discipline, silence, self-respect, and intentional presence. When your inner world is mastered, your external energy becomes undeniable because people can sense confidence before they see it, sense authority before they hear it, and sense power before you express it. This is why some men can walk into a room and instantly change the atmosphere, shifting the tone, raising the awareness, and commanding attention without lifting a finger because their energy broadcasts strength, focus, and quiet dominance. Your energy speaks through the way you move, the steadiness of your gaze, the calmness in your breathing, the precision of your steps, and the groundedness in your posture. It speaks through what you do not do, through not rushing, not fidgeting, not seeking validation, not forcing your presence, and not reacting emotionally to small things. People read these signals unconsciously, and those signals determine how they treat you. When your energy is solid, people become more respectful, more cautious, more attentive, and more measured around you because they feel that you are not someone who can be walked over or manipulated. They feel the weight of your boundaries even before you express them. They feel the seriousness in your silence even before you speak. They feel the confidence behind your eyes even before you make your intentions known. Energy is not mystical, it is psychological, and the truth is simple. People are constantly scanning their environment for hierarchy, and your energy determines where they place you on that hierarchy. The man who carries himself with internal strength will always rise to the top without needing to ask for the position. And the most powerful part is this: your energy becomes stronger the less you try to display it. Forced confidence is weak. Loud power is fragile. Desperate dominance is transparent. But silent energy, rooted in self-discipline, emotional control, and clear intention, is undeniable. People sense when you are self-contained, when you are not seeking approval, when you are not trying to impress or outperform anyone, and that alone sets you apart because most individuals operate from insecurity, from noise, from emotional chaos. Your composure becomes a contrast they cannot ignore. Your calmness becomes a signal they instinctively respect. Your silence becomes a boundary they think twice before crossing. And when your energy speaks for you, you no longer need to justify yourself, explain yourself, or overstate your value. People feel it. People adjust to it. People respond to it. This kind of energy also protects you because when your presence is strong, people with bad intentions hesitate. They sense that you are not easily influenced, not easily provoked, and not easily swayed. They sense that you see more than you say. Manipulators lose interest, bullies back up, insecure people become quieter, and confident individuals treat you as an equal. The right people draw closer, while the wrong people keep their distance. Your energy filters your environment before you even speak a word. This is the power of silent presence. It shapes your world without forcing anything. And once you build this inner foundation, you walk differently, think differently, speak differently, and lead differently. Not from ego, but from control. True power is not about dominating others. It is about mastering yourself so deeply that your presence alone communicates everything others need to know. If you understand the strength of letting your energy speak for you, comment, "My presence speaks first." Number 10. The silence that makes the world listen. There is a moment in every powerful man's life when he realizes that silence is not the absence of voice. It is the amplification of authority, because when you no longer speak from insecurity, no longer react from emotion, and no longer rush to fill empty space, your presence begins to command attention in a way noise never could. The world listens to the man who speaks rarely but meaningfully, the man who chooses his words as carefully as a strategist chooses his moves. The man who is silent not because he is afraid, but because he is focused, intentional, and grounded in self-control. Silence makes people wait for your words, watch for your cues, and study your reactions, and in that waiting, you gain influence without moving a muscle. A silent man is not weak, he is preparing, observing, calculating, and this level of restraint intimidates those who rely on validation, approval, or emotional outbursts to feel powerful. When you speak only when needed, every sentence lands heavier, every glance carries more meaning, and every decision becomes harder to question. People trust the man who is not careless with his words. They fear the man who is not desperate to be understood. They respect the man who is not constantly explaining, defending, or proving himself. And because silence is rare, it is valuable. Most individuals expose themselves through talking. They reveal their intentions, their insecurities, their boundaries, their weaknesses. But the silent man reveals nothing unless he chooses to, making him unpredictable, unshakable, and unreadable. His silence creates tension. It creates curiosity. It creates respect. Even in conflict, silence becomes a strategy, because when someone attacks you and you respond not with anger but with calm stillness, their power evaporates. They lose control, trying to get a reaction out of you, while you gain control by giving them none. Silence forces the world to reveal itself while you remain composed. Silence draws the truth out of people while you conserve your strength. Silence builds an aura around you that words could never construct. And when you finally decide to speak, your voice becomes the anchor in the room, the voice people turn to for clarity, direction, or judgment. This is the Machiavellian mastery of silent influence, the ability to shape perception, command respect, and maintain psychological dominance without shouting, without forcing, without begging for attention. You become the man people watch even when you do nothing, the man whose silence holds more weight than others' noise, the man who leads not by demanding obedience but by embodying strength. If you understand this final form of silent power, comment, "My silence leads."